The war in Gaza is dividing US college campuses.
That is as anti-Semitic as it gets.
Pitting students against each other.
Someone just got arrested. Things have definitely got a lot more tense.
Arguments rage in a battle for free speech.
Columbia University, systemic discrimination against the pro-Palestinian voices. Shame on you, Columbia.
We're in New York as the latest chapter in America's cultural war rages. Mohsen Madawi is a Palestinian student at Columbia University and a leading campaigner against Israel's military action in Gaza, which has killed thousands and caused a humanitarian crisis.
My whole approach is based on connecting with the other, communicating clearly, and trying to find a just resolution.
But the university has cracked down on protests, suspending 2 pro-Palestine groups, including Jewish Voice for Peace.
As we're talking, there's another spontaneous protest going on over there. Has it also morphed, though, I wonder, into a protest about the universities and how they've responded?
The university has picked a side. The university has been biased against the pro-Palestine groups.
The university denies these allegations, insisting they have a responsibility to all who study, teach and research on campus. But the protests continue.
What is going on?
Apparently, since there were a lot of people now, we were disrupting the students because we had a megaphone.
No use of amplified sound.
So what happened, Mohsen?
So there is a Zionist professor who's coming to give a talk here.
Okay.
And they have not called for a ceasefire.
You were part of the protest just now.
Yeah, I was a speaker.
Do you think free speech is being attacked?
Absolutely.
Has this been something which has only started happening in the last few weeks, or do you think this is something which has started happening for years?
It's been happening since 1948.
Really?
Palestinians have been speaking out for 75 years, and they have been violently repressed. A lot of us are members of minority communities who have experienced similar oppression, similar repression when we try to fight back.
I guess some Jewish students or Jewish individuals would say that they are also a minority who also might be threatened. Do you understand that as well?
I plead the fifth. I actually do have to go to class now, so...
Okay, thank you very much.
Time.
Thank you for talking to me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Intifada! Intifada!
Intifada! Intifada!
Globalize the Intifada!
Turn your body cam on right now.
This protest is outside the offices of AIPAC, the pro-Israel lobbying group that is a powerful force in American politics.
Israel won! USA pays! How many kids did you kill today?
Many young Americans are not just angry at the war in Gaza, they are questioning the US-Israel relationship itself.
Free Palestine!
And it's those young people who are chanting not just about Gaza, they're also chanting about Joe Biden. And remember, that's why this is bigger than just those campuses. This is an election year. And the coalition that got Joe Biden into office against Donald Trump, they're there. They're in that group there.
Here, move up on the sidewalks. Let's go. Intifada! Intifada!
For Palestinians, Intifada is a call for resistance to Israel's occupation. But many Jewish people believe it is an incitement to violence.
Yo, we have an instigator!
And I can move you for safety. I'm moving you for safety. Yes, I am. This is a very large city. You don't have to move in a specific spot, do you?
Stand where I want. Stand where I want.
If you get hurt, what are we supposed to do? We're trying.
Jewish and Muslim groups have reported a significant rise in antisemitism and Islamophobia across America.
Settler!
Take a DNA test. Show the world where you're from.
Settler!
We don't want no Zionists here! From the river to the sea! Palestine will be
Back at Columbia, I meet up with Lishi Baker, a Jewish American student. He's determined to remember the 250 hostages kidnapped by Hamas, a proscribed terrorist group by the West.
Right, look at that. Oh, 2 kidnap posters have been torn down here.
Yeah.
That is highly upsetting to me. So,
Does that happen a lot?
yeah. We often get them up and then within like a couple hours somebody tears them down, which is just awful.
So clearly for you it's incredibly personal.
Everyone knows somebody who's been affected by this, somebody who's been killed, somebody who's been kidnapped. Oh my gosh, this tape.
Everyone struggles with tape.
Gosh. We're not going to be silenced. It's not an option. So.
Lishi is the co-chair of Aryeh, a student Zionist organization, and he supports Israel's military actions in Gaza.
Do you remember first finding out about October 7th?
Yeah, I do. I was out on Friday night, having Shabbat dinner and hanging out with people. I got back to my apartment relatively late, and my phone was plugged in and notifications were just pounding my phone. So we're just going into kind of crisis mode. Where do we go from here? And just trying to comfort each other because this was, the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust.
There are lots of people in Israel who are angry at Netanyahu who don't trust him. It sounds like you have a bit more trust in the government than
I have
them.
trust in... that's a tough one, man. Yeah. That's a tough question. Do I have trust in Bibi Netanyahu? He's done a lot to lose a lot of people's trust, but in the time of war, it's we have to, for the most part, trust our leaders and trust the IDF and the commanders to do what's right.
I have a variety of tea.
I've come to meet Mohsen at his apartment to understand what's driving him to keep up the protests. He was born in a refugee camp in the occupied West Bank and lost his best friend and uncle during the Second Intifada in the early 2000s.
As human beings, we have always to seek connection, to find what we have in common, because this is the only way that we can find hope.
Is that running through your head every moment, every day?
Every time I read the news about something happening in the West Bank, I pray that this thing is not hitting
your family?
My family. About 6 weeks ago, I lost 2 cousins in the refugee camp. One who is 17 years old and the other is 24. They were shot in their head, both of them, by a sniper. Houses in Gaza have been destroyed either completely or partially. 1.6 million people are homeless out of 2.2 million people. How are we going to recover from that? The whole Zionist project has failed.
Half of the Jewish population in the world lives in Israel. They believe in the state of Israel. It's a powerful thing for them. The creation of the state of Israel, the fact that it exists. And I don't think they'd say it's failed. I'd say the fact that what happened on October the 7th has enforced their belief that they need that state to feel protected.
So what is that going to take? Continue the genocide in Gaza, exile the Gazans from Gaza to feel more safe. Would you like honey?
Yes, actually.
I will give you this. This is from Palestine.
Do you draw a difference between Hamas and the Palestinian people in Gaza and what they're going through?
I think you're asking me the wrong questions.
Mm-hmm.
I think the right questions that I should be asked is the level of suffering that I know, and the framing of it is not okay. Western media has been part of this narratives that is really blinding people around the world about the reality.
The fallout from the war is being felt across US campuses. At the student newspaper, the Columbia Spectator,
Hi, thank you for coming.
staff writer Rebecca Marcel has been talking to students about Islamophobia and antisemitism on campus.
I've heard from other Jewish students that they've felt almost singled out.
Yeah, I've definitely felt that. There are these like two narratives that are being presented, that like you can either be a Zionist or pro-Palestinian, and that's it. I believe in Jewish self-determination, and I believe in Palestinian self-determination.
I follow up the conversation with Eva Ingber, who is a graduate student at Columbia.
Can I just ask how you feel then about the war in Gaza, Israel's response, more than 25,000 people dead?
It's absolutely devastating. I don't think a single human being with an empathic bone in their body could read the news and think what's happening isn't horrible. But what Hamas did on October 7th, there needs to be a response, because Hamas is cancer for Israelis and Palestinians alike. So while there is no difference between a dead Palestinian and a dead Israeli, there is a world of difference between the men responsible for these deaths.
Hey, good afternoon. Any thoughts on anti-Semitism at Columbia? No thoughts?
There is someone responding to concerns about anti-Semitism on campus, but he doesn't go to Columbia, and his actions have been condemned by all sides.
I'm Adam Gillette, and today I'm at Columbia University holding anti-Semites accountable. You could sign a petition saying you will not hire these anti-Semites.
So we've just arrived outside Columbia. The doxing truck has arrived. This is a source of a lot of controversy around this campus and many others.
It is a truck which goes around with the names and images of students at Columbia, at other universities, and it says that they are the leading anti-Semites from that university. It's had consequences, death threats for those students. Even some people have lost their jobs because of this doxing truck.
Test, 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 test. All right, here, let's go make some friends. What are your thoughts on anti-Semitism at Columbia? Is it out of control? Oh, tell us your thoughts. What are your thoughts on anti-Semitism at Columbia?
So you just grab anyone who...
Yeah.
What's the purpose of this bit in relation to the truck? Is this about...
We release videos online, and people get a kick or are interested in seeing the responses of people and seeing the responses to the truck. Last time we were here, literally every time the truck would stop at a red light, a mob of students would go and try to block it with different things, which is just insane to see. Hey, good afternoon, guys. Any thoughts on anti-Semitism?
Adam Gillette's tactics have been labelled as harassment and intimidation by Columbia University's president.
Do you think you are creating what is already a very heated, tense atmosphere with a lot of fear on both sides, that you are not helping the situation?
I think that the main reason we have this problem today is that for decades, these anti-Semites and racists were able to engage in terrible behavior without any consequences for their action.
But that is your opinion. Do you think that it's right that people are losing their jobs and being fearful because of what you are doing?
I think it's important for people to make their own decisions on how they would respond to an anti-Semite or a racist individual. If our efforts help prevent them from normalizing anti-Semitism, I think that's a great thing.
There is one place where students like Mohsen and Lishi can come together.
We'd like to start off the class.
Jean Krasnow's midweek class on peacemaking and negotiation.
Genocide, as different than crimes against humanity, you have to have the intent. So if you can't prove the intent, then it falls into crimes against humanity.
Today's discussion, Israel's war in Gaza, and the accusation of genocide raised at the International Court of Justice.
I think there's an underlying anti-Semitic trope there, and then also, why choose genocide over crimes against humanity?
This is the same excuse that we are facing here on campus when we are protesting for humanity, for ceasefire against the killing. We are being called anti-Semitic.
The charge of anti-Semitism is very dangerous, and I've been very concerned about that. And to want human rights and justice for the Palestinian people should not be interpreted as anti-Semitic.
We literally live in a climate where we talk all about centering student experience and, the impact of your words matters, on the people that are hearing it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to Jewish students, when we say, well, the impact of certain words like, globalize the Intifada is harmful and threatening to me, we're told, well, actually, the impact on you is not what's important here. We should contextualize it.
It's not true. We have not said that. We told you what does Intifada mean.
When I explained that what I think about and what my family and my friends, both American Jews and in Israel, think about and remember when we talk about Intifada is buses blowing up.
While I see and I value and I recognize the suffering and the pain, if you go to the numbers, you will see that more Palestinians have been killed in both intifadas than Israelis. Are you saying that Palestinians are calling for the death of their own people? Because this is not a comparison.
That is not. That's not a. That doesn't feel like a very fair argument.
Well, you're now actually betraying the trust that I and you are building, because we have had this conversation and you choose to twist the reality.
Okay, so I think I'm going to step in. Well, one of the things that I really am proud of you as a class is being completely open-minded to be able to discuss something that is as intense as this, and we also, because of what's going on campus, to have freedom of speech and to be able to discuss this and still respect everybody's different view.
I would imagine they will not arrest a speaker for just speaking. They will tell them you are not allowed to speak.
It's becoming clear plans for a big demonstration are underway.
Are you able to get arrested though?
No.
So let's not tempt fate or anything like that.
Yeah. I am in a sensitive situation where I was warned by my lawyer several times to avoid getting arrested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there also a risk of you being suspended?
Yes, there is a risk. There is a risk.
The coalition he represents wants Columbia University to end all ties with Israel.
It's unfair and unjust from the university to invest in Israel, to have a global center there, a dual BA degree, and a recruitment program in an apartheid state, while it's discriminating against Palestinian students here. Ready to roll? Yeah, baby.
It's the morning of the demonstration.
And the most important part that I cannot forget. Yeah. I've had this for over 15 years. This kufiyah. It has seen a lot.
He's heading to a local park for a security briefing with lead organisers.
We're here to ensure the safety of the event, so it's really important that people are off their phones unless something is happening. People have eyes everywhere.
At a recent demonstration on campus, pro-Palestine students were attacked with a foul-smelling substance thought to have been skunk spray, a chemical used by the Israeli military for crowd control. It left some seeking hospital treatment.
And how do you feel about any possible counter-protesters on the other side?
On campus, they have been unleashed and they have been very vicious, attacking basically students. So there is a level of risk.
As the rally begins, nearby, Lishi is flying the Israeli flag.
This is just not conducive to dialogue. I don't know if you guys saw the trucks today. That is as anti-Semitic as it gets. And then there were multiple Nazi references as well, which is so disturbing.
Do you want to go and speak to Mohsen right now? Do you want to have a dialogue, or do you think in this scenario it just doesn't?
Well, I'd love to tell him that when you call for an intifada on the streets of New York, you're making Jews everywhere feel very unsafe and very threatened.
They're saying if we use amplified sound, they're going to make arrests. Do you want to use amplified sound personally?
As the time approaches for Mohsen to speak, there is a problem.
We can speak it through the megaphones. Let's go up and give the speech from the top.
So as predicted, the police weren't allowing any megaphones, any sound systems. They said that if anyone used that, they would be arrested. So what Mohsen had to do to give his speech, he went onto campus, inside one of the rooms, from behind a window there.
As you saw, NYPD has arrested a number of students. This is an aftermath, a result of Columbia University systemic discrimination against the pro-Palestinian voices. Shame on you, Columbia! Shame on you! Shame on you!
They're coming. We have to go.
The speech is aborted. They think the police are coming.
Someone just got arrested. There was a bit of confrontation with the police. They've gone that way. The march has carried on this way, but things have definitely got a lot more tense.
The NYPD says 14 people were taken into custody. Protesters accuse officers of slamming people to the ground and even punching them.
In the roadway, I am ordering you to go back on the sidewalk now.
Since this event, Columbia University has introduced a new interim policy on demonstrations, which says it preserves freedom of speech and doesn't deny demonstrations based on a group's viewpoints. As the protest winds down, by chance, Mohsen and Lishi meet.
What we are calling for is technically freedom for all people, equal rights for all people.
Right, that's...
Stop
We're going to have to continue the conversation about Intifada, though, because that one was loud and clear today, huh?
What do we agree on, you and I?
What do we agree on? Well, we agree on the importance of the conversation. Shabbat shalom. We agree on the importance of keeping the conversation going, which I really appreciate, obviously. And
do we agree on equal rights for everybody?
We agree on pushing for equal rights, yeah.
We agree that a life of an Israeli child is equal to a Palestinian child.
That's pretty easy to agree on for me.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
So if we agree on these fundamentals, we are being stuck in the details, and we can go further.
Yeah, we will.
That is why we are in the class.
That's why we're in the class. That's why we're doing this. So. But anyways, I got to run for Shabbat. But it was great to see you. Yeah, Shabbat shalom. Thank you. Okay. Nice to see you.